What's up guys, and welcome back for another EVE Online video. Today we are in my Rattlesnake, and we're going to be demonstrating how you can pull in easily 250 million an hour in wormhole space in a Rattlesnake. This is going to be running C4 wormhole sites. I might do another video on C3 wormhole sites where you can also make similar money, but this is going to be in C4. And we'll go through the site and stuff as well while we're doing it, but basically the purpose of this video is to prove to you that it's pretty easy to make 250 million an hour in C4 wormholes in a Rattlesnake. A couple of things to caveat that with: obviously this is wormhole space, it is not safe. Like default statement, you are not safe if you're out running these things. So you got to be on your D-scan, and you got to be aware and have done the prep work and stuff before you start running sites, which I have done. And then also obviously Rattlesnake, not a cheap ship. I think the ship itself is about 1 billion, and then I've got somewhere close to 400 million in mods on here. But with that in mind, let's quickly go through the fit. Also I'm using the Versus Red Force skin, which I do quite like. Looks pretty good. Anyway, onto the fit. We have so the purpose of this fit is to be fully passive, so that's not a problem. But also you can change your tank or DPS depending on what waves you're facing and things. So this is the cargo hold. You need to be carrying a mobile depot with you, and then obviously all the mods you want to swap into. So my default setup for jumping into C4 combat sites is this, and then you'll see me swap out to different modules as we move through. But basically this fit is tailored for Pulsar, but I think these days I also think it's still my favorite fit. Like, you could change it to a full regen fit as opposed to a blob regen fit, but you know, since they made the changes to battleships relatively recently, where they added the roll bonuses down here for shield extenders, armor plates, and reinforced bulkheads. Before that, the Rattlesnake was only really capable of soloing Pulsars C4 because of the shield bonuses. But since they made these changes and added the 100% bonus shield extender, you can run this fit in any C4 class wormhole, any at all. So we're going to go and jump into a red giant, which is bomb bonuses and the like. So nothing that directly benefits the snake with this fit, but nothing that nerfs it either. So the fit then in the rigs, we've gone just for large core defense field extender 2s, all 3 of them, just to build that shield as big as possible. Then cruise missile fit, so Tech 2 cruise missiles, and then I've got Scourge in there for the kinetic damage, but you could also put Inferno in there to get the bonuses. 10% bonus for those two for the Garistas ships. And because we're fighting against sleepers, they are just omni tanked, so there's no real benefit here. The only exception is the Sleepless Safeguard that you will find in one of the sites does have a slightly stronger thermal resist, which is why I'm set up to do kinetic damage. And then obviously it's a heavy drone boat, so then our DPS comes from cruise missiles with the kinetic damage, and also heavy drones basically. So I've got some ogres for, you know, fun, but my main DPS source is the Gecko. If I simulate the fit, you can see all the stats. So that's the highs, and then drone link augmenter 2 to increase the drone control range, because the sites are relatively spread out, so it's quite important to have this. Micro jump drive in the mids for the start of the site, so I always start the site with this fitted, jump in, which will go through, and then swap it out once the cycle time is finished. and then fully passive everything else. So I have gone A-type, Pitham, A-type, EM, and thermal. So a bit blingy there, but need to fill those holes. And so they're quite important to spend the money on them. My opinion is if you're going to spend $1 billion ISK on a hull, then you might as well spend a little bit of ISK on the fitting as well. 2 Caldari Navy large shield extenders, same premise. Want to make the shield as big as possible. Caldari Navy gives a slightly bigger boost than Tech 2s, and I'm willing to spend the money. And then 2 shield recharger 2s in the mids. And then in the lows, this is what's interchangeable, and you'll see it as I run the site. Basically, you have shield power relay 2s, and then ballistic control systems and drone damage amplifiers. Depending on where your main skill sets are for DPS and things, you can choose how many of them you want, and a damage control 2, just for that little bit of extra tank. Especially if things get hairy and we end up close to hull for whatever reason, then obviously that helps. And then I carry these modules as well, just for a bit of utility and things. So as an example, if I jump into the site with my MJD, then once that cycle time is finished, I swap it out for a target painter to help hit the smaller things. And then similarly, the shield power relays and DDAs and ballistic controls, you can just interchange depending on the requirement for each particular wave. So my skills are pretty good with this. So my drone control range is 81, which isn't the max, but 84 I think is the max with this fit. And 80, like, this is pretty important. If you're much lower than this, it takes a little bit longer to run the site. And what else have we got on here? Targeting range, because obviously the cruise missiles. The passive recharge rate is the other important thing. So with these 2 in, it's 177 HP a second in recharge, which is not bad, but not superb either. But if you were to swap, if you need to tank a lot, then you take out all your DPS and just chuck in more shield power relays, and suddenly you're up at 420 HP a second. So, and that's good recharge. That's strong. So, that's where we are. And then the DPS ranges from about 900 to 1300, depending on what you've got fit in the lows. So, good DPS. So that's the fit. It'll be linked in the description. Without further ado, let's skip to getting started on the site.
Warp drive active.
Okay, so here we are in our red giant. You can see that down here, that it's heating modules and bombs that are affected here, none of which bothers us. But we do have to be aware that if some stealth bombers come in to try and take us out, then they're going to hit very hard. So keeping an eye on D-scan as we go. And then down here we've got a nice bunch of sites. If you want to earn 250 million ISK, you need to run 3 of these, and you can run 3 in an hour is what we're going to try and prove. If you've got a good number like this, where we've got somewhere in the region of 16 or 17 Obviously, you could set yourself up for 5 hours and pull in nearly 1.5 billion ISK. Very nice. So I'm going to decloak because I've been here too long. I want to run Frontier Barracks today just because they're my favourite of the C4 sites. You can run any of the C4 sites in this, so Frontier Command Post, Frontier Barracks, Sleeper Information Sanctum, and Integrated Terminus. All 4 of those can be run with this fit, no problem. Integrated Terminus isn't worth very much, so I don't really run them very often. The most valuable is the Frontier Command Post, but it's a bit annoying with the amount of frigates and turrets. And then the hardest is Sleeper Information Sanctum, but that's worth not as much ISK, so which is why I choose Frontier Barracks where I can. So we'll go through it pretty quickly now. Going to align to the preserver on landing, and you'll notice we're 90 kilometers away. So first thing we want to do is align, start locking them up because you can, and when we are aligned I'm going to MJD, and whilst I'm in MJD I'm also going to fire off my first volley of missiles and then I'll beat them there. So when you jump in and land, you want to stop your ship, drop mobile depot and MTU, get the Gecko out and carry on firing your missiles and Gecko at the sleepless upholder. In this first wave, I didn't repair my Gecko. In this first wave, the preserver is the trigger, which is a little bit annoying because obviously it's giving reps to the upholder, but take out the upholder first and then preserver second. You don't have to worry about newts at all because this fit is fully passive. As I say, you will keep seeing me descan because I just got to keep an eye on what's going on. MTUs take a minute to deploy, so be wary of that. You can't just throw it out and then swap modules straight away, so you need to drop the depot immediately so that when you need it, it's available. But I'd also you need to wait for the cycle time or the reactivation delay on the MJD to finish before you can swap it out for a target painter. So that's what we're doing here. Let's just real quick demonstrate the Omni tank, and the damage from sleepers is just Omni damage. I mean, from the preserver it's like this, but then from a different battleship it'll be EM and thermal, so you just need Omni tank and Omni damage. The resists are pretty high in the armor, but once you break the armor they then just melt, which you'll hopefully see. If you are wondering how you swap modules, basically as long as there's a mobile depot, as long as you're within 3,000 meters of a mobile depot, you can just swap modules in your fitting window as if you were in a station. So just to prove that real quick, I'm going to take the DDA out, shield power relay in, and that's done. And now my rep is better. But I don't want to do that, so DDA is going back in. Hopefully we noted the time when we landed. That's what I was meant to do, was note the time when we landed. Let's, for the sake of it, say it was 16:03. And so that's important. 16:03 is the start time, and we want to see what time we finish this site so that we can know how many you can do in an hour. The second wave, there's some more incoming DPS, so after a little while you need to be prepared to swap modules. So we'll kill this preserver, and they spawn quite far away, all the way down there, which is why we jumped in, because it puts us in range for all the spawns that then happen. In this wave, the trigger is the battleships, the sleepless upholder. If you're taking too much damage, you could take one of them off the grid first, but I like to take out the preservers because obviously they're repping. The reactivation delay is finished on this, so now I'll swap it out for target painter and target paint the cruiser, just to help with some DPS application. But you will see that we drop shield relatively quickly in this wave. Yeah, don't be too alarmed if that's happening, if you see yourself dropping quite quickly. Shield regen is kind of odd and is inconsistent. Your maximum shield regen, which is the amount that's quoted in your fitting, happens around 30 to 33%. So I am going to swap out keep my drone damage high, swap out my ballistic control missile. So now I'm at max shield regen, but if you drop beyond this point, then it falls off quite quickly. So you have to bear that in mind. I've dropped below, so I'm going to swap in another shield power relay for my drone damage. You'll see my DPS has fallen off to 1000, but my regen is now at 315. But that also, I may have left it a tiny bit too late because I've been talking, so just for the last little bit, going to make sure we don't drop too far and go max regen. As soon as we take this guy off the grid, we should be fine. As I say, I dropped a bit too far, so we've actually gone beyond max regen. So we're now I'm not receiving 420 HP a second. It'll be a bit less than that because I'm below 30%. So we need to get rid of this upholder as quickly as possible, and then it will regen up enough for us to swap a module out again. The other thing to bear in mind is there's no scrams or anything during this point. So if you are worried about it, if you've not run many of these before, then just warp off. Warp off, regen, come back in. No point losing 1.5 billion ISK over thinking you can sustain this kind of pressure. So just while we finish off these last two, because you'll see we'll regen some shield. When we get up to sort of 35-ish%, I'll swap a module out again. But while we're doing this, just want to talk about some of the effects you need to be a bit wary of. Obviously, if you're in a vanilla wormhole, that's fine. It'll basically be the same as this in terms of how the Rattlesnake behaves. Ideal situation for this is a C4 pulsar. The bonuses there are to shield, which is what this fit's gone for. It adds 72% to your maximum shield hit points. And if you weren't aware, shield regen is based on your maximum HP. It's like a percentage of your maximum shield HP. So if you can just add a bucket load of maximum shield HP by being in a pulsar, 72%, then your shield regen also goes through the roof. And that then means you can just keep your DPS modules in instead of having to swap out to tank. So that means you can run them faster and less riskily. I'll turn my missiles back on. I forgot to do that while I've been talking. But yeah, basically you can run the sites much faster and with much less risk if you're in a pulsar. Just because I think I have 92,000 shield in a C4 pulsar, so that's a big difference. And then so that's a good thing. You want a pulsar. The other one that's can be good is a black hole. Black holes tend to be specifically about propulsion. So it increases your ship speed. That also goes to your drones. Your drones move faster, and reduces the effect of webs. So basically it makes your drones that little bit safer and more useful, because everything's so spread out and geckos aren't very fast. It takes them a minute to get between the different waves. In a black hole, that's reduced by 72%. And also, if they're webbed by any cruisers or frigates, then the effect of that web is much lower. So it's much easier to pull them in to break the aggro and stuff. So just quickly, final wave, they spawn quite a long way away. So I bring return and orbit on my drone, so he starts the journey back from down there. And then the frigates will close quickly. You can see they move really fast. So you can start targeting the frigates as they come in. And once they're locked up, I will just, there you go, activate that and send in my drones as well. Because they move at speed, they'll be difficult to kill as they come in. And then once that happens, once you've killed them, then focus on the 4 cruiser preservers. The problem with this wave, and I will call it a problem, is the sheer amount of rep that they all put out. So the frigates are preservers, the cruisers are preservers, and the battleships are preservers. That means they all repair each other, and it's incredibly difficult to break the first cruiser. The frigates are fine, because once your drone gets on them, it only takes 2 hits to kill them. I'm going to have to bring him in, because as soon as the cruisers target him, he starts to melt. So let's hope he comes back in quickly. You can see the shield go down real fast. Come on, come on, come on, come on. He shouldn't be webbed either. That's a bit upsetting that that's happening. It's warp scrammed, but not webbed. Come on. The nice thing about Gecko is it's got significant structure. It's got 3 times as much structure as it does shield, so you can normally just sort of risk it. But it's a lot of ISK to throw away. Obviously, it's 100 million if you lose one. Right, so we're going up to this cruiser that's by itself, and we'll see if we can break him. I've got to keep an eye on my shield, because the incoming DPS from these guys is a lot as well. There you go, that's a big hit. But obviously we want to be dealing as much damage as we can to break their rep cycles. So I hold off on activating my modules until my drone is closer, so that they don't start setting their reps off, and then we'll see if we can break him. Keeping an eye on shield. Basically what you need to be careful of here is every 18 seconds the battleships do a massive alpha hit, and then you need to be able to rep it back up in time for the next alpha hit, basically. So there's the big alpha hit, and then we rep it back up. But keep an eye on his armor. He's got 3 cruisers and 2 battleships preparing him, so it's pretty annoying to get through. And we'll just see how we get on. If I need to, the next alpha hit, I'll probably need to swap the last shield repair module in, but we'll see. Yeah, I'm going to do it now, because that's the 25% warning alarm, so we'll send that in. And the issue with that is the DPS drops. So now we just have to sit and wait, basically, while we try and break this first cruiser. It will eventually break. I've not ever had it not break with this fit, but it just takes a long time sometimes. But we're keeping an eye on the time. We've only been in the site 11 minutes, and this is the final wave. So, you know, even if this first cruiser takes a few minutes to break, then we're still on for a 20-minute site, which is fine. So back to what I was saying about the effects. Black hole is quite good because of the reasons I've listed. One of the things that's one of the ones that's misleading is Magnetar. The effects on that are, the main ones are increased damage by a lot, 72% again, from everything, but decreased tracking ability. And so, you know, that's not the end of the world. Normally that's that's pretty good. The tracking of a Gecko with a target painter is pretty strong. So there, he finally broke. So now let's go over to the second ones, and I've got enough rep to put these back in now. Yeah, so there's the reduced tracking for increased DPS, and it's a good trade-off. Tracking is reduced by 36% while DPS is increased by 72. So that sounds on paper like a good thing, but also the targeting range is also reduced by 36%. So that's what I didn't realize before, and that makes a big difference to the runtime of the site, because all the waves spawn at pretty much the limit of your targeting range, well, your drone control range. And so that's quite important. If that's reduced massively, there's no prop mod on this ship, it's pretty slow, and you don't want to move too far from your mobile depot. So you just have to wait for them to slow boat in, and they do move slowly. So that increases the length of time it takes to run them quite significantly. So I actually don't like a Magnetar for this fit too much anymore. I think it was okay for the Nesters, but I'm not a huge fan of it for the Rattlesnakes. Come on, just brake. Brake. There we go. Oh, they keep moving around. Go for too late. If you want to try and min-max the time as well, obviously you can. You should go for the relevant rat at the right time, depending on your drone's position. But I didn't, because I've been a bit distracted because I'm doing a video. We got 6 minutes left. That first one did take a bit long to break. Sometimes it can go really quickly if you get lucky with your application. The cruisers aren't very strong, so if you are lucky with your application, you can sort of three-shot it before the reps really kick in, and then you're fine. Then the site's really fast. If you're unlucky and you get it like we did, then you just have to wait basically while it does it. But each one is easier to break as the previous one dies, because there's less reps on the field. So from this point, it's all nice and easy. And also the incoming DPS, didn't mean to click map, the incoming DPS is reduced, so you can just increase your DPS. So we'll clean this one very quickly, because I believe the cycle time on the battleship reps are quite significant compared to the cruiser ones. So you don't really have to worry about the battleship reps going onto this guy, because you break him before the reps really kick in. That's the idea anyway. And then just to wrap up my thoughts on the effects, you've then got Cataclysmic as well, which I don't know too much about. I think it's pretty neutral for this Rattlesnake fit. The main thing is it reduces local shield rep, armor rep and shield booster effectiveness, so it doesn't affect a passive fit, but increases remote reps and stuff. But it also reduces the, it does something to do with capacitor. I think it increased capacitor recharge time, possibly. Yeah, but anyway, but also capacitor doesn't matter for this fit, so I think Cataclysmic, just like Red Giant, is pretty neutral for this, and it's like flying in a vanilla. The only thing to bear in mind is obviously the effects will impact if any ships come and try and kill you, any other capsuleers. So you have to bear that in mind, and how you might deal with that. So as I say, Red Giant, if some Tech 3 cruisers come in and start heating, you're in serious trouble. Or if a couple of bombers come in and drop some bombs on you, then you've got an issue there as well, because bombers do a lot of damage anyway, and then suddenly you got another 72%. That's a lot of incoming damage as alpha. So let's wrap up these last two rats. We are at 18 minutes, so it's going to be more or less exactly 20 minutes to complete the site. start the last one. MTU will be pulling everything in for us. Nope, wrong module. Blister control system. And so basically, because everything's within range, by the time we've killed this one, it'll be the only wreck left, so it'll take another 1 minute to pull it in. And then we can scoop up and warp to the next site. So we'll be at 20 minutes, pretty much dead on, by the time the site's finished and we've got all the loot. You'll see when we open the MTU at the end that the site is always worth 86.4 million. I want to make sure I've not made a fool of myself there, but it's 86.4 million, I'm 90% sure. And if we want to do the maths, 86.4 times 3 basically, and that's how much you'd earn in an hour if you did one of these every 20 minutes. So 86 times 3, 258, so 259.2 million in an hour. So that's the last one there. And we wait 1 minute for the wreck to be pulled in, and then we can walk to the next site. And that's, yeah, as I say, just about 260 million in an hour. And it's the same, it takes about 20 minutes if you run a command post. For slightly bigger reward, they're 92 million. They're just a little bit more annoying. Sleeper Information Sanctum, I think, is 81 million, and it also takes about 20 minutes, so you'll be looking at just shy of 250 million at that point. But yeah, and so while you're waiting for the last wreck to be pulled in, you just make sure your ship is fit how you want it to be. So you need the MJD on. Make sure you're all ready for that first wave. Scoop your mobile depot. Wait for the last wreck to be pulled in. If you want to come back and salvage, obviously bookmark them. And you're away. You're away. 20 minutes. 86.7 million. Even better. 260 million an hour. Skip to cargo hold. And warp to the next barracks.
Warp drive active.
It's worth salvaging these. You can get somewhere between 5 and 10 million for each site when you salvage it. So, alright guys. Thanks very much for watching. I'm going to keep going because I'm going to go and earn some cash. If you liked watching the video, please give it a like and a subscribe. If you want to come and do this yourself, we're always recruiting. We live in C4 Wormhole. We have this sort of ISK on tap. And yeah, we're happy to support you. So feel free, look me up in game, and I'm Wad Enderas, and you can join our corporation. And yeah, thanks. Please subscribe to the channel. See more videos like this. More stuff on Wormhole Life. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I will see you all in the next one. Cheers. So just to demonstrate that it can be done a little bit faster, this is a site I walked, that you saw me walk straight into a second ago. You can see at the time. And this is the final wave. These are the last two ships again. And we are already, what was it? It was 24 that we finished the last one, right? So if we're saying it's 20 minutes per site, then 44 is when we're going to finish this one by and be able to warp out. And that's easily going to be the case. In fact, we're probably going to complete this one in 18 or 19 minutes, which means if one takes 22 or 23, that's no problem. Over time it will balance out to 20 minutes per site. And we can also just prove that it's always 86.7 million as well when this last when these wrecks pull in. Uh, turn this back on. Yeah, basically that's what I wanted to say. Like we're going to be finished by 22 in this case, which is an 18-minute run, which is fine. So if one takes you 21 or 22 minutes, then you can get lucky with your application, and we can get through it in less time the next time around. Basically, in this site, the first cruiser in the second wave, it took much less time because I saw one of the hits that came up from my drone was for 4,500, so that melts most of the way through, all the way through his armor, and most of the way through its hull in one shot. So then, obviously, it's not that difficult to overcome the reps after that. Yeah. So, as I was saying at the end of the last clip before I decided to add this in, but won't be so rushed. Yeah, if you're interested in Wormhole life, my corporation, Disaster Area, we're always recruiting. We're looking for new members in Wormhole space. So please look me up in game, look up our corporation, join our recruitment channel, DISA Recruitment, DISA Recruitment, and chat to someone in game if you're interested in wormholes and living in wormholes. We're happy to have you. Any level, any experience, a number of skill points, doesn't matter. We are more than happy to help out new players and get them settled in wormhole space, or people from other parts of New Eden. There you go, 42, so 18 minutes. Other people from other parts of New Eden that just maybe want to give wormhole space a go. Everyone's welcome. Just chat to one of our guys and we will see if we can get you in. But yeah, so while this last can comes in, we'll just have a check. But same again, while the can comes in, swap out to the fit you want to start the next one before scooping that, and then aligning to your next site that you want to run. So in my case, it'll be another barracks. But yeah. If you're interested in any other videos, if you're brand new to wormholes, I have started another series called the Wormhole Workshop. Right now there's a basics of probe scanning, and in the next day or so I'll be uploading a wormhole identification video. So if you're interested in that, check out the the probe scanning video, basics of, and subscribe to the channel, and you'll be able to you'll get notified when my next video comes up on wormhole identification and things. So basically how you can work out where a wormhole goes just by looking at it. So let's get aligned to this one, and we'll carry on 40 minutes exactly with our hour. And it was 86.7 million, so after 2 sites, after 40 minutes, we've got 173 million in blue loot. And if you're wondering what you do with blue loot, you just take it out into K-Space and sell it at NPC sellers. So it's always fixed price, which is nice. Alright, as I say, thanks a lot for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you found it interesting, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.